Stories have the power to teach kids anything. As a kid, I was always reading. I always had my nose in a book. You know, I read all the Nancy Drew books. It's really endless, the sort of tools that stories give us to educate kids.
My favorite story was James and the Giant Peach, and it was because my second grade teacher, Mrs. Casper, read it to me. You know, having been a former teacher and now administrator, I can only tell you that that is such a powerful thing when you read a story to a child.
Storytelling is the language of humanity. Everything that we hope, everything that we dream, everything that we create is contained in the stories that we tell ourselves and one another, because it's our imaginations really that are the superpower of human beings.
Stories help literacy in so many ways. I mean, there's so many studies that have proven that when kids hear stories, when they're read to, that they just develop quicker. I think it's incredibly powerful.
They have the opportunity to impact reading habits of children is kind of why I feel like I'm here. You cannot have a just society unless you have an informed and literate population.
We're coming out of a pandemic, so all of our learning was done online, with the screen, with the iPad, and so there was a really big disconnect between the teacher and the student, even with their peers. So to come into a world now where we're back face to face, and today was the first day without a mask, you know, the connection is starting to come back, but it's a work in progress.
We have to empower future generations to become lifelong learners with the aids of whatever technologies are at our disposal. Reading Rainbow was a mission to use the prevailing technology of the time, television, to capture the attention of kids and point them in the direction of literature and the written word. And using TV to do that was counterintuitive at the time. In fact, television in the educational community was really considered the evil enemy.
Our digital touch points have increased, significantly, and so now kids aren't just looking at TV, they're looking at personal devices and screens, and there's a lot of really great educational content, both at home and in the classroom. It gives kids access to the world, and that's a great thing. The downside to that is when you give a child a screen, you're giving them what to interpret, and when you remove that from the equation, it puts the creative responsibility upon the child. One thing that we're focused on is giving an alternative to that, and to give them that same access to the world, the same access to stories, but in a kid-appropriate way by removing the screen from the experience.
It is through the right use and utilization of the technology that will enable us to give our children the best chance they can at achieving their full potential.
So Tonies is a really interesting company. It was actually started over in Europe by a couple of dads that met on the board of a preschool together, and they created a figure-based system of play that uses characters called tonies, and it'll play different songs and stories depending on the character. With the Toniebox, it's all very tactile, so the child places a magnetic tonie on the box, and then to navigate through the content, they just give it a nice little whack.
Kids can just jump right in. They innately know how to interact with it, how to turn it on, how to switch between stories, how to control the volume. It's really made for little hands.
Disney princesses, Peppa Pig, Paw Patrol, Llama Llama, or Pete the Cat.
We're bringing these characters to life in an imaginary way. You know, they're not seeing the pictures on the page or the characters on the screen. Everything is happening in their head. That's sort of the magic of the Toniebox.
Creative Tonies are really fun too because they come blank. They're programmable with up to 90 minutes of your own content. So kids can write their own songs, their own stories, and teachers can also put curriculum. Grandparents can read bedtime stories or send special messages from the app from anywhere in the world. We've been working on Tonies for Teachers for a little over a year now, and we came across the Fullerton School District here in California. They've been such great partners, and we've been able to learn more about the potential for how this can be used in classrooms.
We received 100 Tonieboxes and 500 Tonies, got them all together, and we charged them up and we put them in the hands of kids, the best thing we could do, right? And the giggles that you heard from the kids, because it's something they never experienced. You have to walk in the room when the kids are on the Toniebox. Their imagination and just critical thinking, creativity has really expanded. As our teachers work together and they collaborate together, they share ideas, and we're incorporating it into our STEAM lessons in there as well. So it's also getting our teachers an opportunity to be creative.
I grew up watching LeVar. I was a big fan of his, and when I came to Tonies and was given this opportunity to help share stories with kids across America, I thought what better person to get than LeVar Burton.
The story of having my own Tony is bizarre because the content that Tonies has been able to license, those are some of the largest brands in children's entertainment. So The Rhino Who Swallowed a Storm is a children's book that I wrote in response to the world that we currently live in. And to have them, really acknowledge the validity of this space. I'm really, really proud of the book and its ability to address loss, something that we all experience in life.
Kids are engaging with content with Tonies in a way that they don't anywhere else in their day-to-day lives. But they have the power to choose what they want to engage with. And then every story and song that we're sharing with kids helps improve their life in some way.
We're going to need all of our resources in order to solve the problems ahead of us. And chief among our tools is our imaginations. And the link between reading, the imagination, and what we create in this world, it's inextricable.